let's take a look at this great orc player. We have Francisco Ventura. So I know you guys are like, wait, he went, 3-2. So what? There's a new data slate. We're taking a look at everything he went into, and actually very important because he threw some of my guesstimations on their head with what he actually ended up going to, because he did lose, what I expect him to lose, but he also overcame some of our hard matchups. So let's look at his list. So we have 2 war bosses, then 2 war bosses in mega armor, followed by a war boss on bike with a super cyborg body, Kaptain Badrukk, and Mazrug's Scrag Bag. So excellent right there. We a lot of things we like to see. We like to see multiple war bosses. I personally have said war boss in mega armor isn't as trash as people always say. Playable, but there's things I prefer. War boss on bike, I'm much more in favor of the Def Killer War Check, but I can understand. Way smaller base. Maybe sometimes you need those 5 extra points. Still has modest set of gas. 1 big unit of Flash Gitz, but then he also brought a 5-man unit of Flash Gitz and another 5-man units of Flash Gitz. So say hello. And then he brought 2, 10, 11-man units of Gretchen. I'm actually leaning more into that too, into some of these new shenanigans that we're seeing in the data slate. Models wanting to move up the field earlier, jump into your backfield, all these different annoying shenanigans. Hey, let's just put more Grots on the field, put more LC on the field. Let's take up more board control. Then we have those 2 units of Mega Nobz for those war bosses. Both have twin kill saws. I'm a fan of that. And you know that. 2 units of war bosses. Have Nobz for those war bosses, and they have power claws. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trucks. So you went for 5 trucks on this. All the Mega Nobz and the war bosses get a truck. Mind you, these 5-man units of Flash Gitz are now considered SWAT teams, because you're taking 1 truck, putting a 5-man units of Nobz and the war boss in one, and then taking the 5-man units of Flash Gitz and putting them in one. So right there, you're getting the firepower from the Flash Gitz. You get the chaff clearing. If you don't want to invest your Nobz into something, hey, they threw some Hormigons, big brick or something stupid that's crappy armor save. Hey, throw these guys out. Each Flash Git gets 4 punches built in. Run in there, start crumping. I know that it's not very reliable, but you could pop MO run, get their normal shots off. It's always hit or miss. I'm not going to say I would suggest it, but it is very, very fun to run that iteration of SWAT team. So shout out to you for running the SWAT team. I appreciate it, you war boss Git. And something I also thought was a little interesting here is you don't see any other enhancements, So let's look into him. I would say it is a little bit off the wall because he brought the Flash Git meta, but he did get some interesting wins here. So going into his first matchup, which even though I said he got some interesting wins, this was actually a first round loss, and it was to the Knights, Chaos Knights again. So let's just see if it's the same exact thing. 5, 6 brigands instead, and then just a couple carnivores. 3 units of Nurglings, and then a pink horrors unit. So I'd like to see if he ended up going first, putting the Nurglings all up in the way and playing off that, what the mission was, the terrain. And he did bring 1 big old Night Rampager, which if you don't have some, let's say a big unit Squighog boys who just straight punch out that unit, this guy can just end up tearing a hole through an entire orc line. Very hard to stop. He can decide to do a 6-up feel no pain, then get the 2-up armor save. I'm not from what we were looking at here on Francisco's list, is he doesn't have something that's reliable, one shot, one of those big rampagers, and from there all those brigands help destroy the trucks, pick up the Nobz, and the Flash Gitz don't do anything. So I can understand why I lose that. We already know that that's a difficult orc matchup, and that's just a part of it when you're running that. So it's all good, because going into his second matchup, we have Space Marine Black Templar. So we know Black Templar's got an increase. Let's look at what some of these players are running. Chaplain Grimaldus, and a High Marshal Hellbrick. A Primaris Crusader squad. Okay, so we think a lot of people are thinking that they're going to start trying to run the Black Tide, so we'll see what's up with that. Another Primaris Crusader squad, a Rhino, a Ballista Shred, Infiltrator squad, a Land Raider, Sword Brethren, Redemptor Dreadnought, Scout. Okay, so something we're noticing here is no one scepters, a little bit less firepower than used to, not as many transports with only just 1, it is just only 1 Land Raider. Yeah, we don't see a bunch of Rhinos built in, these different kind of mobile disembarking transports that are trying to take all over the board. Only 3 characters, so they did lose out on a little thing here and there. And I like to say that orcs have a great job in just picking up these Primaris Crusader squads for the most part that other armies don't have enough attacks into. We love to have straight damage too. So that's something in there. The Ballista Shred doesn't get great return on investment for orcs. It's chaff here, clearing isn't great and such. So I really like to see that we ended up taking down Black Templars again. He took them down with that awesome SWAT team combos where the Sword Brethren can end up getting traded out for those Nobz squads. And then other, something like these Primaris squads wouldn't do great into Mega Nobz squads, with the ability to actually bounce some of that and some of the smaller numbers fire. So great job there. I really like to see that. Really love to see them take down the Black Templars. Always good for crumping them beakies, right? Then we have third matchup, which is Tomas, which actually Adeptus Custodi. So we were talking about Banana Boys, right? Banana Boys, everybody that has any sense of where the rules are at, what's going on with Orks, some of our hard matchups. We all know that Golden Boys are very, very difficult for us. At the general baseline level, let's say that me and you are equally skilled players and you come to the table with Custodies, and most of the time we'll know that you have an innate advantage based off what the rules are and what your strengths are. So we have Wicked Joe with 5 gifted wall membership. Whoa, let's go. So if any of you boys walking around here looking like some pink umis, that's on you. So looking like a pink umi. So go ahead and collect those. Throw some war bosses in the chat, some gazes in the chat. So, you know, we can do some Zogrot if you want. Some of you guys are some Grot lovers for Wicked Joe right there, right? So shout out to Wicked Joe. Very generous of you. I appreciate it. You get. So collect those, you guys, because we don't need to see all the pink homies around here. Join the green tide. So we have the Blade Champion and Chajin Valores. Only 2 very, very character-like. 1, 2, 3 units of Guardians. Cannot be slept on. Prosecutor. A brick of Alora's Custodians. A unit of Wardens. Another unit of Wardens. A Caladius Assassin. And a Vindicare Assassin. I think Custodians really benefit from getting additional characters in their unit. You know, you can put some certain Inquisitors on there, like Draxus. You can put more characters in here that give them more abilities to, they get to benefit from abilities from that, but so do the characters from theirs, right? So the Guardians being able to double shoot, they're rerolling when you're on the objective. You know, you got the Alora's Custodians that if you have a leader unit in the unit that they're targeting, their grenade launchers get to reroll. This is something us Orc players hate to see. They can get free strats if they have more captains in their list. Then with the Wardens, they get feel no pains, and then you have the ability to reduce damage. One thing that I want to mention here as an Orc player to keep in mind when you go into the Custodian matchup is, you know, read the wording of these strats, which is why I'm going to go over the stratagems, is when you activate the fight and death, the Custodian player cannot reduce your damage because it's an activation by model, I believe, when I go over it again, when I will go over it to be sure, and the Custodian strat is when the unit's being activated, right? So when you fight on death and you're going for that direct trade when someone decides to fight you on death, understand that your knobs still get the damage too. So you really want to get that feel no pain to pop on with your Flash Gitz or something in a different activation. But I would be a little happy as a player to not see one grav tanks. Even, you know, one grav tank could be problematic because they can systematically dissect those staging units that you want to kill. Or if you have a battle wagon, they can put really threatening into that sometimes. It holds their backfield a little bit easier for not too much of an investment. And we're one of the few armies that don't threaten it too much. Maybe Flash Gitz could, if it doesn't have, you know, if it's in range. So that's just one thing to keep in mind is they do lack some of the tools that would make them a harder matchup, but that doesn't mean you as a player shouldn't understand what you can use or what their weaknesses are. So if you don't see Caladius grav tank, understand your transports are a little bit safer. If you don't see a bunch of characters, understand you're not getting as many free strats. That's a bit better for you as a player as well. But you are seeing there are a good amount of units on this list. So be wary of that. And you're not seeing any of the Venatari for the double ingressing, right? Just beware that the Terminators can actually teleport around the field. So I would really like to see what the mission was. He ended up getting a win here in his third game. So great job going into one of our hard matchups. So, you know, this is really you as an Orc player. I can go over this custo list piece by piece and tell you what I would do and everything, but every mission is different. Your list is going to be different. Just be aware of the tools that they do not have that give them the edge over us even more. That would be one of them. If you don't see a Terminator, you know, captain in this Alara's Terminator squad, that's important. If you don't see Caladius grav tanks, that's important for your transports to know your transports are actually more durable than the Custodian players want to acknowledge. Those are the kind of, and understanding when fighting in death actually keeps your damage. Let's say that you didn't know that and you fought in death and they reduced damage thinking they could do that, you could just lose the game just from that, right? Because then now you're not trading your knobs. But his fourth game, he went to Custodes again. So now you can see he has a shield captain in this. You know, that's actually he's the one who gives a free shot, excuse me. And then we have the Blade Champion again and Trajan Valoris. This is the kind of triple combo you should see. You should expect to see, excuse me. 2 units of Guardians right here with this unit has the shield. And this unit has one dude with the shield and a Vexel, of course. And then this one is just all spears. A prosecutor unit. On this one, though, what I noticed is I was enjoying their list, and then boom, they broke down into the Terminator squads into 2 small units. That might be good just to have more units, but into Orcs, you really like to see that because you hate to see them get their grenade launchers, drop down, reroll all the wounds into your nice mobs, and get blast, and it just hurts. Really like to see that as an Orc player. And again, you do not see the Caladius grav tanks. So we're having an issue here where the Custodian player is actually not going to be able to disembark you from your transports. Great for us for staging, great for us to get the initiative and actually hit them hard when we do hit them hard. And once we've been acquired enough CP to fight on death and unbridled carnage here and everything like that, because when it's go time, you need to make sure you have the CP there, right? Which is why I'm also looking for tactical instead of fixed at the moment, even though I was practicing fixed, because we were going to need more CP when we're dealing with custom. Again, he put up actually even more points into this, 96, maybe the mission, maybe because they don't have Terminator Brick. I don't know. Then into his last matchup. So great job, by the way. Beating one of our hard matchups is great. When I'm giving you the all that on grab tank, I'm not making an excuse. I'm saying that's what you're really worried about. When you're not worried about those, we get more initiative and ability to win. So great, very great job by getting double custodes win. But here we have the Necron Hypercrypt Legion, the annoying, multiple activation movement shenanigan army. A lot of you guys probably already know what they do. We can talk about it. They're going to be around for a while, so it is familiar to get, important to get familiar with their rules. They're picking up units. They're coming within 3 inches. So in all, because I think, Tactical Tortoise and other people have covered this list. What's funny about this list is it brings a giant heavy construct that's 540 points. Because it has a strat, it's a part of this detachment, it can drop within 3 inches, which means it's very hard to screen out. This thing will automatically destroy Ork transports by any size and measurement. These guys also have multiple Locust Destroyers that can come in and redeploy around the field. Then they have the Silent King himself and the Nightbringer. So by the time you're getting off on the Nightbringer and maybe trying to deal with the Silent King, or maybe you're trying to close the distance on this big, hilarious, heavy construct, you're getting shot up. And even then, right, I would actually say what happens with this Necron detachment is not that Ork players can't beat it. It's, again, when you guys get to the same equally skilled player on player, what I'm end up seeing is we get close to the end of the game and they pull out the win very, very nonchalantly with their extra activations and win at the end of the game by turn 4, like 4 or 5, pretty much, usually 5. So you can see he actually has an 87-point win, and the Necron player had a 92-point win. So he lost by 5 points. That's, hey, I took the objective at the end of the game, because as a Necron player, he can now pick the, initiative for his shooting, slowly dissect and kill your transports, kill your scoring units. That's what a smart Necron player is going to do. He's going to understand that if I waste my killing capability into his durable killing units, I might fail here. What I should do is dissect his army, which is what Necron players at the high level will do. That's what I have to deal with a lot, where he's like, I'm actually going to waste all my activation killing those grots. I'm going to waste my activation killing those trucks, because by the end of the game, I now don't have enough, units to actually hold that last primary and end up losing there, or score that last secondary. That's really what they actually go for as a Necron player. So you might feel good going into it for long times. Just know that's actually how at the top tables, those Necron players are getting their wins. That's how they're looking to pull the games off. And so, be wary of that when the game's going down to the wire. Hey, I might need to have something in my back pocket to continue going. Great job by Francisco, regardless, getting 7th place at a GT. Much love. Very fun to see a SWAT team in action. Whoa, it's the rise of the Green Tie Boys.